The Valorian transport ship floated in the darkness of space. Inside, Captain Zelthrin looked at his control panel with growing fear. Red lights blinked everywhere. The ship was dying. Behind him, his crew worked frantically to fix the damaged systems, but everyone knew it was too late. Through the window, Zelthrin could see the pirate ships circling closer. There were 6 of them, dark and covered with weapons. The Kravax pirates were known across the galaxy for their cruelty. They never left survivors unless they wanted slaves. Zelthrin thought of his daughter hiding below in the cargo area with the other families. She was only 12 years old. The Valorians were a peaceful people. They had never built weapons or trained soldiers. They believed the civilized galaxy would protect them. For hundreds of years, that belief had been enough. But out here in the edge of known space, beliefs meant nothing. The communications officer turned to Zelthrin. Her hands shook as she spoke. "Captain, I managed to send a distress signal before they jammed our systems. It went out on all emergency channels. Did anyone respond?" Zelthrin asked, though he already knew the answer. "No, sir, we are too far from Council space. Even if someone heard us, they could not arrive in time." Zelthrin closed his eyes. The nearest Galactic Council patrol was 3 days away. They had minutes, maybe an hour at most. He walked to the window and placed his hand against the cold glass. Outside, the pirate ships moved like predators playing with wounded prey. The main screen suddenly lit up. The face of the Kravax commander appeared. His reptilian features twisted into what might have been a smile. His skin was covered in scars and his eyes were cold and empty. "Valorian ship," the pirate said in broken galactic common. "You will open your cargo bays. You will give us everything. Then maybe we let some of you live? Maybe we sell you. Maybe we just kill you for fun. We decide later." Zelthrin tried to keep his voice steady. "We are carrying medical supplies for the colony on Theta 7. They are fighting a plague. People will die without these supplies." The Kravax commander laughed. A harsh, cruel sound. "Then they die. Not my problem. You have 5 minutes to open your bays. Then we start cutting through your hull. The air will leak out slowly. You will suffocate while watching your children die first." The screen went dark. Zelthrin felt his legs go weak. Around him, his crew looked at him with desperate eyes, waiting for orders he could not give. What could they do? They had no weapons, no shields, no hope. "Papa?" His daughter's voice came through the internal comm. "Papa, what is happening?" Zelthrin pressed the button to respond. "Stay where you are, little one. Everything will be fine." The lie tasted bitter in his mouth. Far across the galaxy, aboard the human warship called the Vengeance, Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison sat at his station in the communications room. It was a quiet night. Most of the crew was sleeping. Morrison was reading reports and drinking coffee that had gone cold an hour ago. Then his screen blinked. A new signal appeared. Morrison sat up straight and started working his controls. The signal was weak and broken, but it was definitely a distress call. He played it back and the translation program worked to convert the alien language. "This is Valorian transport ship Morning Star. We are under attack by pirate vessels. 6 ships. Kravax raiders. Our shields are failing. We have 43 civilians aboard, including 16 children. Please anyone, we need help. Our coordinates are..." The message cut off. Morrison was already running to the bridge. He burst through the doors and nearly collided with the duty officer. "Sir, we have a priority distress call. Civilian transport under pirate attack. They have children on board." The duty officer immediately hit the alarm. Within seconds, Captain Helen Rodriguez arrived on the bridge. She was in her 50s, with gray hair and hard eyes that had seen too much combat. She listened to the message once, then turned to her crew. "How far away are they?" Morrison checked his calculations. 4 hours at maximum jump speed, ma'am. "And how long do they have?" "Based on the damage I heard in their systems, maybe an hour. Probably less." Rodriguez did not hesitate. "Sound general quarters. Get every ship in range moving. And someone wake up Admiral Price. Tell him we are going to war." The Vengeance came alive. Lights blazed in every corridor. Crew members ran to their stations. In the hangar bay, pilots raced to their fighters. In engineering, teams brought the main engines to full power. Everyone knew what was happening. Someone had called for help. The humans were going to answer. Within 10 minutes, 5 human ships were ready. The Vengeance led them. Behind came the heavy cruiser Defiant and 3 smaller destroyers. They all jumped into hyperspace together, their engines burning bright as they raced toward the coordinates. Admiral Gregory Price stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, now fully dressed in his uniform. He was an old man, almost 70, but his back was straight and his voice was strong. He had fought in 3 wars and commanded fleets for 30 years. He knew what they would find when they arrived. "Estimated time to target?" he asked. 3 hours and 40 minutes, sir," the navigation officer replied. Price nodded. "Weapons, I want all batteries charged and ready the moment we drop out of hyperspace. Tactical, start running attack patterns. I want options for every possible scenario." "Yes, sir," they replied together. On the Valorian ship, the 5 minutes had passed. The pirates were now cutting through the hull with plasma torches. Zelthrin could hear the metal screaming as it melted. The temperature inside was rising. Soon they would break through. His daughter sat next to him now. He held her close. Around them, other families huddled together. Some were praying. Some were crying. Some just stared at the walls in shock. "Papa, are we going to die?" his daughter asked. Zelthrin wanted to lie again, but he could not. "I do not know, little one. But whatever happens, I am here with you." The cutting stopped. For a moment there was silence. Then the pirates attached something to the hull. A shape charge, Zelthrin realized. They were going to blow a hole straight through. He closed his eyes and held his daughter tighter. In hyperspace, the human fleet raced forward. In the crew quarters, soldiers checked their weapons. In the medical bay, doctors prepared for casualties. In the command center, officers studied the tactical situation and planned their attack. They were still 3 hours away, but they were coming. The humans had heard the call, and nothing in the galaxy would stop them from answering. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. On the bridge of the Vengeance, every screen lit up with data. Admiral Price studied the tactical display. 6 pirate ships surrounded the damaged Valorian transport. The pirates were already cutting into the hull. "Time until they breach?" Price asked. "Minutes, sir. Maybe 10 at most." Price felt anger rise in his chest. He had seen too many innocent people die in his long career. Not today. Not while he still drew breath. "Open a channel to the pirate vessels. All frequencies." The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Price spoke clearly and calmly. "Pirate vessels, this is Admiral Gregory Price of the United Earth Defense Fleet. You have exactly 30 seconds to power down your weapons and move away from that civilian ship. If you do not comply, I will consider you hostile combatants, and I will respond with everything I have." On the pirate command ship, the Kravax leader stared at his screens. 5 human warships had appeared from nowhere. He had heard stories about humans, about their violent world and their strange obsession with protecting others, but he commanded 6 ships. The humans only had 5. "Human Admiral," he replied, "you are outnumbered. Leave now, and we will let you go. Stay and die with these weaklings." Price smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "Wrong answer." The pirate commander fired his weapons at the nearest human destroyer. Plasma bolts flashed through space. Price spoke one word: fire. The battle began in an instant. The human ships moved with incredible speed and precision. They split into 2 groups, attacking from different angles. The pirate ships tried to respond, but they were too slow, too confused. Commander Lisa Hayes ran the tactical station on the Defiant. Her fingers moved across the controls like a musician playing an instrument. "Destroyers, execute attack pattern Alpha. Disable their engines first. Vengeance and Defiant, focus on the command ship." The three human destroyers swept through the pirate formation like hunting wolves. Their weapons were different from what most species used. Railguns fired solid metal projectiles at enormous speeds. When they hit, they punched through shields and armor like paper. One pirate ship turned to run. A railgun round hit its engine section. The explosion lit up space for a moment. The ship went dead, floating helplessly. Another pirate ship tried to fight. It fired everything it had at the destroyer Lightning. The human ship's shields glowed bright blue as they absorbed the impacts. Then the Lightning fired back. Its weapons tore the pirate ship apart in seconds. On the Valorian transport, Zelfrin watched through the window in amazement. The pirates who had been about to kill his family were now fighting for their own lives. And they were losing badly. "Papa, who are they?" his daughter asked, pointing at the human ships. "I do not know," Zelfrin whispered. "But I think they came to save us." The pirate command ship tried to escape. Its captain finally understood that he had made a terrible mistake. But Captain Rodriguez on the Vengeance had predicted this. Her ship was already in position, blocking the escape route. "Target their engines," Rodriguez ordered. "I want that ship intact. Their commander needs to face justice for what he has done." The Vengeance fired. The shot was perfect. The pirate ship's engines exploded, but the rest of the vessel remained whole. Life support was still working. The crew would live, but they would not escape. The remaining pirate ships surrendered. The entire battle had lasted less than 10 minutes. 6 pirate vessels had been defeated. 3 were destroyed. 3 were captured. Not a single human ship had been seriously damaged. Admiral Price opened a channel to the Valorian ship. His face appeared on their screen. Zelfrin was surprised to see that the human looked kind, almost gentle. During the battle, the humans had been like demons. Now Price smiled like a grandfather. "Valorian vessel, this is Admiral Price. Do you have casualties? Do you need medical help?" Zelfrin found his voice. "We have wounded, Admiral. Our ship is badly damaged. But we are alive because of you. I do not know how to thank you." "No thanks needed, Captain," Price replied. "You called for help. We came. That is what neighbors do. We are sending medical teams and engineers to your ship now. You are safe." Within 30 minutes, human Marines boarded the Valorian ship. Sergeant Danny Crawford led his squad through the damaged corridors. He was a big man, over 6 feet tall, and his armor made him look even larger. The Valorians stared at him with wide eyes. But Crawford's voice was gentle. "You are all safe now. The bad guys are gone. We are here to help." A young Valorian child approached him slowly. She looked up at the big Marine and asked, "Are you a monster?" Crawford knelt down so he was at her eye level. He removed his helmet. His face was kind, with warm brown eyes. "No, little one. I am just a soldier. And soldiers protect people. That is our job." The child smiled and hugged his armored leg. Crawford patted her head carefully with his large hand. In the medical bay of the Vengeance, human doctors worked on the Valorian wounded. Dr. Karen Phillips examined a young Valorian with a broken arm. She was amazed at how fragile they were. Their bones were thin and light. Their hearts were small and delicate. "These people would not survive a day on Earth," Phillips said to her assistant. "Our normal gravity would crush them. Even our common illnesses could kill them." "Makes you understand why they needed help," the assistant replied. "It also makes me grateful we were the ones who could give it." On the captured pirate ships, human security teams searched through the vessels. What they found made them angry. Cargo holds filled with slaves from many different species. Some had been prisoners for years. Lieutenant Amy Foster led the rescue operations. She found a group of terrified Valorians locked in a small cage. They were dirty and thin, their eyes empty of hope. Foster immediately called for bolt cutters. "You are free now," she told them as she cut the lock. "We are humans from Earth. We are taking you home." An old Valorian woman looked at Foster with tears in her eyes. "I prayed someone would come. For 3 years I prayed." Foster helped her out of the cage. Well, your prayers were answered today? In the brig of the Vengeance, the captured Kravax pirates sat in their cells. The pirate commander glared at Lieutenant Foster as she stood before him. You will be tried under both Earth law and Galactic Council regulations, Foster told him. That ship you attacked was carrying medical supplies to a colony fighting a plague. You did not just attack civilians. You attacked people trying to save lives. The Kravax commander hissed at her. You Deathworlders should understand. The strong take from the weak. This is nature. Foster leaned close to the force field, keeping him locked up. You're right about one thing. We are Deathworlders. We come from the worst planet in the galaxy. It made us strong. But it also taught us to protect each other. Because that is how you survive a death world. You protect your own. She turned to leave, then looked back. You prey on the weak? Fine, but you just learned what happens when the weak have friends with very big guns. On the Valorian ship, families were reuniting with their rescued loved ones. Tears of joy mixed with tears of relief. Zelthrin held his daughter and thanked every god he knew that they were alive. He watched the human Marines working to repair his ship. They were efficient and professional. They treated every Valorian with respect and kindness. These beings from a world of death and violence had crossed the galaxy to save strangers. Admiral Price appeared on the transports bridge. He had come over personally to check on them. Admiral, Zelthrin said, why did you do this? We are nothing to you. Just another species in a galaxy full of species. Why risk your lives for us? Price considered the question. Captain, my planet Earth is hard and cruel. It tries to kill everything that lives on it. We survived by learning one important lesson. We are stronger together. We protect each other. When I heard your distress call, I heard people in trouble. That is all I needed to know. But we are not humans. Price smiled. No, you are not. But you are people. And people help people. That is what makes us civilized. As the human fleet prepared to escort the Valorian transport to safety, word of the rescue was already spreading across the galaxy. The communications had been recorded. The battle had been witnessed by nearby sensor stations. Everyone was asking the same questions. Who were these humans? Why did they fight so hard for strangers? And what did this mean for the future? In the dark corners of space, pirates and raiders heard the news and felt something they had not felt in a long time: fear. The news spread through the galaxy faster than any ship could travel. On every world, on every station, people watched the footage of the human fleet destroying the pirate raiders. The Galactic Council chamber on Centria Prime was filled with representatives from 100 different species. Everyone was talking about the humans. Ambassador Claire Bennett sat calmly in the human section. She was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been a diplomat for 20 years. She listened as various council members debated what the humans had done. Councillor Thexallen rose to speak. He was tall and insect-like, with 4 arms and compound eyes. The human actions were too violent. They destroyed 3 ships. They could have negotiated more. They could have given the pirates more time to surrender. Bennett stood up. Her voice was calm but firm. Counselor, with respect, those pirates fired first. They were cutting into a civilian ship with children aboard. Every second we waited meant more innocent lives at risk. We responded with exactly the force needed to stop the threat immediately. Another counselor spoke up. But you killed so many pirates. Was that necessary? Bennett pulled up data on the main display. The pirates who died were on ships whose power cores exploded after their shields failed. We aimed for weapons and engines. If their ships were poorly maintained, that is not our fault. We gave them a chance to surrender. They chose to fight. The debate went on for hours. Some species praised Earth for protecting the weak. Others worried about human military power. But one thing was clear: the galaxy had changed. The humans were now major players in galactic affairs, far from the council chambers. In the dark places where criminals gathered, the news was causing panic. On an asteroid station called Black Harbor, Crime Lord Vex Thorn called an emergency meeting. His captains gathered around a holographic display showing the battle footage frame by frame. "Look at this," Thorne said, pointing at the screen. "See how they move? Perfect coordination. And these were not even their main fleet. These were just patrol ships responding to a random distress call." A scarred Rogalian captain shook his head. "The Kravaks were fools to fire first. But surely the humans cannot protect everyone." Thorne pulled up intelligence reports. "In the last month, humans have responded to 14 distress calls. 14. They are not asking for payment. They are not demanding territory. They just show up and destroy anyone attacking civilians." The room fell silent. For centuries, pirates had operated freely because the civilized species would not risk their ships to protect others. The Galactic Council had fleets, but they were slow and cautious. They calculated acceptable losses. Humans did not calculate acceptable losses. They just came in angry. "What does this mean for us?" Another captain asked. "It means the game has changed," Thorne said heavily. "Any merchant ship might have humans appear if you attack them. We need to reconsider our entire operation." On merchant channels throughout the galaxy, civilian captains were having similar conversations. At a trade hub called Verendi Station, Captain Terry Grant addressed a gathering of merchant captains. "I am telling you, I saw it myself," Grant said. "My convoy was being followed by raiders in the Kelvin sector. I thought we were finished. Then a human patrol ship appeared. The raiders ran away like frightened children. The humans did not even fire a shot." An old Thorian captain spoke up. "But for how long?" "The humans are new here. Eventually they will get tired of protecting us." "That is what the council did." Grant shook his head. "I talked to their captain. I asked her why they bothered. You know what she said? She said because someone needed help, that was all. No politics, no payment. They helped because they could." Back on the Valorian homeworld, Captain Zelthrin was being treated as a hero. He had survived a pirate attack thanks to the humans. News reporters wanted to interview him. Government officials wanted to meet him. But Zelthrin just wanted to go home with his daughter Dot at his house, sitting in his garden. He tried to explain to his daughter what had happened. "Papa, why are the humans so strong?" she asked. Zeltha thought about how to answer. "Their world is not like ours, little one. Earth is heavy and hot and filled with dangerous creatures. The humans had to become strong just to survive. They call such worlds death worlds. Are they bad people?" Zelthrin remembered Sergeant Crawford kneeling down to comfort a frightened child. He remembered Admiral Price's kind face. He remembered how gently the human doctors had treated the wounded. "No, sweetheart. They are not bad. They are fierce when they must be, but they are also kind. They are what happens when a hard world creates a strong people who never forgot to be good." On Earth, the incident was making news everywhere. In the Military Command Center at Geneva, Fleet Admiral Victoria Shaw briefed the United Nations Security Council. The response was by the book, Shaw explained. "Our ships arrived, offered surrender terms, and when fired upon, neutralized the threat. The Valorian government has thanked us formally. 3 other species have requested defense agreements with us." The Secretary General nodded. "What about the criticism from some council members about excessive force?" Shaw's expression hardened. "Sir, those counselors have never fought pirates who take no prisoners. The Kravaks would have killed or enslaved every person on that ship. Our people gave them a chance to surrender. They chose violence. Some species say we are being too aggressive, that we are making enemies." "We are making friends with the innocent and enemies of predators," Shaw replied. "I can live with that." In a small town in Nevada, Sergeant Crawford visited a school to talk about his service. Students asked him what it was like being a Marine in space. "It is not about fighting aliens," Crawford explained. "It is about protecting people. Some of them just happen to not be human. When I helped those Valorian children, I did not see aliens. I saw scared kids who needed help. That is what we do." A student raised her hand. "But why do we risk our lives for people who are not even our species?" Crawford smiled. "Because we can. Because we know what it is like to fight for survival. Earth taught us that survival means helping each other. We are just expanding our definition of who needs help. Meanwhile, human intelligence was tracking something worrying. In hidden bases far from Council space, someone was building ships. Lots of ships. The intelligence reports landed on Admiral Price's desk aboard the Vengeance. He studied the data with growing concern. "They are building a fleet," he said to Captain Rodriguez. "Someone out there does not like what we are doing." Rodriguez looked at the numbers. "Do we know who?" "Not yet. But whoever they are spending a lot of resources. This is not some pirate gang. This is organized." Price sent a priority message to Earth Fleet Command. Admiral Shaw received it and immediately called a meeting of senior officers. "Someone is preparing for war," Shaw told them. "We do not know who yet, but the signs are clear. We need to be ready. Should we pull back our patrols?" One officer asked. "Consolidate our forces?" Shaw shook her head. "That is what they want. They want us to abandon our patrol routes. Then they can claim we were never serious about protecting anyone. No, we stay the course. But we also prepare a rapid response force that can deploy anywhere quickly." Back on Valoria Prime, Zelthrin's daughter made an announcement that surprised him. "Papa, I want to join the new joint fleet. I want to be like the humans who saved us." Zelthrin felt pride and fear in his heart. "You are too young. I will not always be young. When I am old enough, I want to serve. I want to help protect others like they protected us." Zelthrin hugged his daughter. The humans had not just saved their lives. They had given his daughter hope and purpose. That was a gift beyond measure. Throughout the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Young people from peaceful species were volunteering for military service for the first time in generations. They wanted to be like the humans. They wanted to stand up for the innocent. The Human Military Academy program expanded rapidly. Officers from dozens of species came to train on Earth, on Luna Station. On Mars, they learned human tactics and human determination, but they also learned something else. They learned why humans fought the way they did. Not for conquest or glory, but to protect those who could not protect themselves. The galaxy was changing. For centuries, the strong had preyed on the weak. Now, the weak had allies who refused to let that continue. The humans had drawn a line in space and dared anyone to cross it. In the dark corners of the galaxy, those who profited from chaos and violence began to plan their response. They would not give up their power easily. War was coming, but the humans were ready. They had answered one distress call with overwhelming force. They would answer 1,000 more if needed, because that was what humans did. They heard the call and they came. None could withstand them. 3 weeks after the Valorian rescue, the Kravax Pirate Confederacy made a decision. They decided that humanity needed to be taught a lesson. In his throne room aboard the massive warship Ravager, Warlord Krathix addressed his captains through holographic links. Krathix was old for a Kravax, covered in battle scars. He had ruled the Pirate Confederacy for 20 years through fear and violence. Now he felt that rule threatened by these humans. "The humans think they can protect the weak," Krathix growled. "They swagger through our space-making threats. We will show them that numbers matter. We will show the galaxy that Deathworlders bleed just like everyone else." His plan was simple. Attack a human supply convoy. Ambush the ships that came to help. Destroy them. Broadcast the battle across the galaxy. Break the myth that humans were unbeatable. His spies had found a target. A lightly defended supply convoy would pass through the Dinara system in 2 days. The convoy carried medical supplies and construction equipment to a new colony. Only a few escort ships protected it. Perfect. What Krathix did not know was that human intelligence had been watching the Kravax for weeks. They had intercepted his communications. They knew his plan. When Admiral Price received the intelligence report, he smiled grimly. "They want to ambush us," Price said to Captain Rodriguez. "Let us show them what happens when you hunt humans." Price made a call directly to Earth Fleet Command. Within hours, a new fleet was assembled. At its center was the super carrier Retribution, fresh from Earth with a full battle group. Admiral Marcus Drake commanded the Retribution. Drake was a legend. At 58 years old, he had fought in 2 major wars and dozens of smaller conflicts. He had been retired, teaching at the Naval Academy. But when Earth Fleet Command asked him to come back for this mission, he agreed immediately. On the bridge of the Retribution, Drake studied the tactical situation with his flag captain Nathan Cole. "They think they are hunting us," Drake said. "Let us teach them what humans do when someone declares war on us." The human supply convoy entered the Dinara system exactly on schedule. 3 cargo ships, 2 destroyer escorts, and 1 cruiser. They moved slowly through space, seemingly unaware of the danger. The Kravax fleet emerged from behind a gas giant. 60 warships. It was the largest pirate force assembled in a generation. Krathix felt confident. 60 ships against 6. The humans would die quickly. "Surrender your ships," Krathix broadcast. "Maybe we will let your crews live as slaves." Captain Rodriguez commanded one of the destroyers. She laughed when she heard his demand. "Warlord Krathix, we have been waiting for you. But before this starts, I should tell you something important." "What is that, human?" "You are not surrounding us. We are surrounding you." The gas giant behind the Kravax fleet suddenly blazed with light. Ships emerged from behind it. The Retribution led a force of 20 warships, 5 cruisers, 10 destroyers, 5 support vessels. But there was more. Hanging in orbit above a nearby moon were 3 weapons platforms. They had been positioned quietly over the past week. Each platform had rail guns that could punch through any ship's armor. And dropping out of hyperspace at the system's edge came 12 more human ships. The escape routes were cut off. Krathix stared at his tactical display in disbelief. He had 60 ships, but the humans had 35 plus weapons platforms. And the human ships were newer, faster, better armed. He realized with growing horror that he had walked into a trap. Admiral Drake's face appeared on every pirate ship's screen. His expression was cold and hard. "Warlord Krathix, you have one chance. Power down your weapons. Shut down your engines. Prepare to be boarded. You will be tried for piracy, murder, and slavery. Resist, and we will show you why Earth is called a death world." For a moment, Krathix considered surrendering. Then his pride took over. He had never backed down from a fight. He would not start now. "Attack," he roared. "Kill them all." What happened next would be studied in military academies for decades. The humans did not just fight. They executed a perfect battle plan with devastating precision. The weapons platforms fired first. Their rail guns accelerated tungsten rods to incredible speeds. 3 pirate ships simply disappeared, torn apart by impacts that released massive energy. Lieutenant Commander Marcus Webb led his fighter squadrons into battle. 120 fighters launched from the Retribution. They moved through space with perfect coordination, their missiles finding targets with deadly accuracy. Commander Julie Sanders ran the Combat Operations Center on the Retribution. "All wings, execute pattern Delta 7. Push them toward the moon's gravity well. Cruiser group, you are the hammer. Destroyers, you are the anvil." The pirates found themselves herded like animals into a killing zone. Everywhere they turned, human weapons were waiting. Ships that tried to run were disabled with precise shots to their engines. Ships that fought were destroyed piece by piece. Captain Ryan Brooks commanded the destroyer Lightning. A pirate ship twice his size came at him with all weapons firing. The Lightning's shields glowed blue as they absorbed the hits. "All power to forward shields," Brooks ordered calmly. "Return fire. Target their bridge." The Lightning's main gun fired. The pirate ship's bridge exploded. The entire vessel went dark and dead in space. But Krathix was no coward. He pushed his flagship forward, determined to kill at least one human ship before he died. The Ravager was massive and heavily armed. Its plasma batteries opened fire on the destroyer Lightning. For a moment, it seemed the lightning might fall. The shields flickered under the barrage. Then the rest of the human fleet responded. 10 ships turned their weapons on the Ravager simultaneously. The pirate flagship was tough, but nothing could survive that much firepower. Explosions ripped through its hull. The bridge took a direct hit. Krathix died, still screaming defiance, unable to accept his defeat. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, 3 pirate ships were destroyed. 17 were disabled and being boarded by Marines. 40 had surrendered. The human fleet had damage to 4 vessels, but not a single human ship was lost. Sergeant Crawford led his Marines through the captured ships. In the cargo holds, they found horror. Slaves from many species, locked in cages. Some had been prisoners for years. Crawford felt rage build in his chest as he saw their condition. "You are free now," he told a group of Valorians huddled in a cage. "We are humans. We are here to take you home." An old Valorian woman looked at him with tears streaming down her face. "I prayed someone would come. For 3 years I prayed." Crawford cut the lock with his plasma torch. "Your prayers were answered today?" In the medical bay of the Retribution, doctors worked on the freed slaves. Many were malnourished. Some had been beaten. All were traumatized. But they were alive and they were free. Lieutenant Amy Foster stood in front of the cells holding captured pirates. The Kravax prisoners glared at her with hatred. "You will be tried under both Earth law and Galactic Council law," Foster told them. "You attacked civilians. You kept slaves. You murdered innocent people. Justice is coming for you?" One pirate spat at the force field. "You Deathworlders. You think you are better than us. But you are just killers like we are." Foster's expression was cold. "No, we are nothing like you. We fight to protect. You fight to prey on the weak. There is a difference. And you are about to learn what that difference costs." Admiral Drake broadcast a message on all frequencies. It was carried to every corner of the galaxy. "To anyone who attacks civilians, enslaves the innocent, or thinks violence gives you power, the United Earth Defense Fleet is watching. We have ships in every sector. We have intelligence networks tracking you. If we receive a distress call, we will come. Not in hours or days, immediately, and when we arrive, you get one chance to surrender. Only one. After that, you face the full strength of humanity. This is not a threat. This is a promise. The age of piracy in this galaxy is over." On the Galactic Council, the debate was fierce. Some species called the humans vigilantes and warmongers. But Ambassador Bennett stood before the council with freed slaves beside her. "You had centuries to stop this," Bennett said quietly. "We took weeks. Judge us if you want, but explain to these people why you did not save them first." The council had no answer. In the military bars on Earth, a new toast became common. Officers raised their glasses and said simply, "To the fleet of wrath may we always arrive in time." And in the dark places where criminals gathered, a new fear took root. The humans were watching. The humans were coming. And if you harmed the innocent, you would answer to them. None could withstand them. The attack came without warning on a cold morning in the outer colonies. 3 human settlements, separated by hundreds of light years, all came under assault simultaneously. The conspiracy had finally struck. On the colony world of New Perth, alarms blared across the settlement. Governor Rachel Stone ran to the command center as explosions lit up the sky. Through the windows, she could see ships descending through the atmosphere. Lots of ships. How many? She demanded. The defense coordinator checked his screens. 40 vessels in orbit, ma'am, more arriving every minute. They are broadcasting a message. Lord Sardix's face appeared on every screen in the colony. His blue skin seemed to glow with satisfaction. "Humans of New Perth, your fleet cannot save you. We have struck 3 colonies at once. Your precious protectors cannot be everywhere. Surrender now or face destruction." Governor Stone felt fear grip her heart. New Perth had only 15,000 people. Most were civilians. Farmers, teachers, families. The colony's defenses were minimal. They had relied on the protection of the fleet. "Send out a distress call," Stone ordered. "Full priority. Tell them we need help now." Light years away on Unity 1 station, alarms sounded in the command center. Admiral Drake rushed in from his quarters. The tactical display showed 3 red markers, all flashing urgent priority. "Report," Drake snapped. Captain Rodriguez was already at her station. 3 colonies under simultaneous attack. New Perth, Harmony Bay, and Last Light. Combined enemy forces estimated at over 300 ships. Drake felt his blood run cold. 300 ships. The conspiracy had been building a massive fleet right under their noses. How long until we can respond? Nearest fleet elements can reach New Perth in 4 hours. The others will take longer. 4 hours. Drake's mind raced. A lot of people could die in 4 hours. He made his decision instantly. Send everything we have to all 3 locations. I do not care about leaving sectors undefended. Every ship, every fighter, every marine. Tell them to go maximum speed. He opened a channel to Earth Fleet Command. Admiral Shaw's face appeared. She looked like she had not slept. "I know," Shaw said before Drake could speak. "We are mobilizing everything. The home fleet is already moving. But Drake, even at maximum speed, we are looking at 6 hours before main force arrives. Those colonies will not last 6 hours. Then you need to buy them time. Do what you do best. Make the enemy pay for every second." Drake nodded grimly. He turned to his staff. "Get me Governor Stone at New Perth and wake up every pilot we have. It is time to earn our pay." On New Perth, the situation was deteriorating rapidly. Enemy ships had begun orbital bombardment of the colony's defenses. The shields were holding, but not for long. Governor Stone watched helplessly as explosions bloomed across her world. This was supposed to be a safe place. A fresh start for families wanting to escape crowded Earth. Now it was turning into a battlefield. "Governor, we have Admiral Drake on priority channel." Stone grabbed the communicator. "Admiral, please tell me you have good news." Drake's face appeared. He looked tired but determined. "Governor, help is coming. But you need to hold out for 4 hours. Can you do that?" "Our shields will not last 4 hours under this bombardment. Then we make them stop the bombardment. I am sending everything I have. But you need to get your people to shelters and prepare for ground assault. They will try to land troops soon." Stone felt her heart sink. "We do not have much of a military force here. You have civilians who need protecting. Arm anyone who can hold a rifle. Use the terrain. Make them bleed for every meter. We will get there, I promise you." The channel closed. Stone looked around at her staff. Young faces staring at her with fear and hope mixed together. She straightened her shoulders. "You heard the Admiral. Get everyone to the shelters. Break out the emergency weapons. Contact anyone with military experience. We are going to buy the fleet 4 hours." The first human response forces began arriving at New Perth after 90 minutes. Not the main fleet, but advance elements. 6 destroyers dropped out of hyperspace and immediately engaged the enemy. Captain Ryan Brooks commanded the destroyer Lightning, leading the small force. He looked at his tactical display and felt his stomach drop. 6 ships against 40. Terrible odds. But those were his people down there. All ships, weapons free. Target their landing craft first. We keep them off the ground as long as possible. The 6 human destroyers tore into the enemy fleet like wolves attacking a herd. They were outnumbered, but they had better training, better weapons, and more importantly, they had something to fight for. Brooks pushed the Lightning through a storm of enemy fire. His shields flashed and sparked as they absorbed hits, but his weapons never stopped firing. Enemy landing craft exploded one after another. On the ground, the colonists fought desperately. Governor Stone stood in the command bunker, coordinating the defense. Civilian volunteers with rifles held key positions. Former soldiers led small units in hit-and-run attacks. A group of enemy soldiers landed near the main settlement. They advanced confidently, expecting easy victory against untrained civilians. They were wrong. A young farmer named Jake Turner led a group of 20 volunteers. They had set up positions in the forest overlooking the landing zone. When the enemy soldiers advanced into the kill zone, Turner gave the order. Fire! 20 rifles spoke as one. Enemy soldiers fell. The survivors scrambled for cover, shocked to face organized resistance. Turner's people melted back into the forest before the enemy could respond. At Harmony Bay, the story was similar. The colony was under siege, but help had arrived. A mixed cruise ship called Unity, crewed by humans and aliens trained in the joint program, fought alongside 2 human cruisers. Lieutenant Commander Julie Sanders commanded Unity. Her crew of 40 included Valorians, Thorians, Mantarans, and humans. They worked together with perfect coordination. Valorian sensor team, I need targeting solutions, Sanders called out. Solutions locked, Commander, the Valorian officer replied calmly. Thorian weapons team, fire when ready. Firing now, the Thorian gunner responded. Unity's weapons lashed out, an enemy cruiser exploded. Sanders felt pride surge through her. Her crew, made up of species who had never fought together before, were performing like veterans. At Last Light Colony, the situation was most desperate. This was the newest settlement with only 5,000 people. The enemy had committed over 100 ships here, clearly intending to destroy it completely as a message. But they had not counted on the determination of the colonists, or the fury of the fleet. Sergeant Danny Crawford landed with his Marine platoon in assault shuttles. His orders were simple: protect the civilians at all costs. Marines, we hold the line until the fleet arrives, Crawford told his people. That is men, women, and children down there depending on us. We do not fail them. The Marines dug in around the main settlement. When enemy ground forces attacked, they walked into a storm of fire. Crawford's Marines had fought on a dozen worlds. They knew every trick, every tactic. They made the enemy pay in blood for every meter. 4 hours after the attacks began, the main human fleet arrived. Admiral Drake led them personally aboard the Retribution. Behind him came 30 capital ships and over 100 smaller vessels. They dropped out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Drake looked at the tactical display. The enemy still outnumbered his forces, but numbers only mattered if you did not know how to fight. All ships, battle formation Delta. We go right through the center of their fleet. Hit them hard and fast. Show them what happens when you attack Earth colonies. The human fleet smashed into the enemy like a hammer. The conspiracy forces had never faced this level of coordinated violence. Their ships were good, but their crews were not prepared for the sheer aggression of the human attack. At New Perth, the 6 destroyers that had been fighting alone for hours were battered but still operational. When they saw the main fleet arrive, Captain Brooks allowed himself a small smile. Lightning to all ships. The cavalry has arrived. Let us finish this. The battle that followed would be called the Defense of the 3 Colonies. It lasted 8 hours of brutal combat. The conspiracy fleet fought hard, but they were outmatched. Human tactics, human determination, and human fury proved unstoppable. By the end, over 200 enemy ships were destroyed or captured. The rest fled into deep space. Lord Sardix's flagship was one of the captured vessels. Marines stormed aboard and found him trying to destroy his communication logs. Lieutenant Amy Foster personally arrested him. Lord Sardix, you are under arrest for war crimes, including the attempted genocide of civilian populations. Sardix glared at her with hatred. This is not over. You cannot protect everyone. Eventually you will fail. Foster's expression was cold. Maybe, but not today, and not on our watch. The colonies had survived. Casualties were heavy. Over 3,000 civilians dead. 20 human ships destroyed. Hundreds of military personnel killed or wounded, but they had held. Governor Stone walked through the ruins of New Perth's main street. Buildings were damaged. Smoke rose from a dozen fires. But her people were alive. They had fought and survived. Admiral Drake came down to the surface personally. Stone met him at the landing pad. Thank you, Admiral. If you had arrived even an hour later, Drake held up his hand. 6 months after the Battle of Dinara, the galaxy was different. Human ships patrolled the major trade routes. Pirate attacks had dropped by 70% across known space. Civilian merchants could travel safely for the first time in decades. The change was remarkable. Ambassador Claire Bennett stood before the Galactic Council once again. This time she was not defending human actions. She was presenting a proposal. On the display behind her, plans for a new organization appeared. The Galactic Protection Initiative, Bennett explained. A joint task force combining human military expertise with council resources and intelligence. We are not asking for control. We are offering partnership. The council chamber buzzed with conversation. Some species were immediately interested. Others were skeptical. Councillor Thexalan, who had once criticized human methods, rose to speak. The Mantaran Collective has seen pirate attacks in our space drop by 78% since human patrols began, Thexalan said. Our merchants trade freely for the first time in my lifetime. Whatever concerns we had about human aggression, the results speak clearly. The Valorian representative stood next. My people would be slaves or dead without Earth's help. We support this initiative completely. One by one, species who had suffered from piracy voiced their support. The vote passed with strong majority approval. Admiral Marcus Drake was given command of the new Joint Task Force. He set up his headquarters on a massive space station called Unity 1, built specifically for this purpose. The station orbited a neutral world and served as the coordination center for protection operations. In Drake's command center, holographic maps showed patrol routes covering the entire galaxy. But Drake saw the problem immediately. There were not enough ships. We are stretched thin, Drake told his senior staff. Captain Rodriguez, Commander Webb, and other officers gathered around the table. Earth Fleet Command is building new ships, but it will take 2 years before we have enough. Commander Webb leaned forward. What if we train their crews? The Council species have ships. They just do not know how to fight like we do. We could turn their defensive fleets into something effective. Rodriguez nodded. It is not just about weapons. It is about mindset. Most species fight to defend themselves. We fight to protect others. That is something we can teach. The training program began immediately. Officers and crew from dozens of species came to human facilities. On Earth, on Luna Station, on Mars, aliens learned human military tactics. But more importantly, they learned human philosophy, Lieutenant. Amy Foster found herself teaching a class of mixed species security. Officers at the Academy on Luna, she stood before students from 15 different worlds. We come from a death world, Foster explained. Everything on Earth wants to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants, even the bacteria. But humans did not just survive. We thrived. How? We protected each other. A human alone dies. Humans together are unstoppable. A young Thorian officer raised his hand. But Lieutenant, your planet made you aggressive. How do we, who come from peaceful worlds, find that aggression when needed? Foster smiled. You do not need aggression. You need conviction. When you truly believe that protecting the innocent matters more than your own safety, everything else follows. We are not asking you to become human. We are asking you to believe that everyone deserves protection. The training worked better than anyone expected. 6 months into the program, a mixed crew aboard a ship called Harmony responded to a distress call. The crew included humans, Valorians, Thorians, and Mentarans. They faced a raider group that would have terrified them before training. Instead, they fought with courage and coordination. They saved the civilian ship under attack. They captured the raiders. When the report reached Drake's desk, he smiled with pride. But not everyone was happy with the changes. In secret meetings far from Council space, powerful species who had profited from chaos plotted together. The Zephyron hegemony, the Varlix Empire, and several rogue systems formed an alliance. Their leader was Lord Vexardix of Varlix. He was a tall, elegant being with blue skin and cold eyes. He addressed his fellow conspirators in a secure communication. The humans have upset the natural order, Sardix said. Before they arrived, the strong ruled and the weak served. This is how the universe works. We must act before their infection spreads further. What do you propose? Asked a Zephyron admiral. We build a fleet. In secret, we strike at human colonies. We prove that Earth cannot protect everyone. We shatter their reputation and restore the proper order. The conspiracy began building ships in hidden shipyards beyond explored space. They recruited crews from criminal organizations and disaffected military personnel. Slowly, quietly, they assembled a force of hundreds of vessels. Human intelligence picked up hints of something building. Strange resource movements, unusual communications traffic. Reports landed on Admiral Drake's desk with increasing frequency. Something is coming, Drake told Captain Rodriguez during a private meeting. I can feel it. Someone out there is preparing for war. Do we know who? Not yet. But whoever they are spending massive resources. This is not pirates. This is organized military action. Drake sent urgent reports to Earth Fleet Command. Admiral Victoria Shaw read them and immediately began preparing. She ordered ship construction accelerated. Reserve forces were activated. New weapons platforms were built and positioned in key systems. Meanwhile, civilian life continued to improve throughout the galaxy. On Valoria Prime, Captain Zelthrin had retired from space travel. He now taught at the Merchant Academy. His students loved hearing stories of the day humans saved his ship. They could have ignored our call, Zelthrin told his class. No one would have blamed them. It was not their problem. But they came anyway. They risked their lives for strangers. That is what separates civilization from barbarism. His daughter had turned 18. True to her word, years earlier she applied to join the Joint Fleet. She was accepted into the training program. Zelthrin was proud and terrified. Are you sure about this? He asked her the night before she left for Luna Station. Yes, Papa, those humans saved us. Now I want to help save others. I want to be like them. Zelthrin hugged his daughter tight. The humans had not just saved their lives. They had inspired an entire generation to be better, braver, stronger. On Earth, life went on as normal for most people. But in military bases around the world, preparations intensified. Fleet Admiral Shaw addressed her senior officers at the Pentagon. We have intelligence suggesting a major attack is being planned, Shaw explained. We do not know when or where, but we know it is coming. We need to be ready. Should we pull back our patrol routes? An officer asked. Concentrate our forces? Shaw shook her head firmly. That is exactly what they want. They want us to abandon our commitments. Then they can claim we were never serious about protecting anyone. No, we stay on patrol. But we also prepare rapid response forces that can reinforce any position within hours. The preparations continued. New weapons were tested. Battle plans were refined. Crews drilled constantly. The humans were getting ready for the biggest fight since they had entered galactic affairs. In the hidden shipyards, the conspiracy fleet neared completion. Lord Sardix walked through the massive construction bay, admiring the warships being built. There were hundreds of them now. Cruisers, battleships, carriers, all designed for one purpose, to break human power. When do we strike? His military commander asked. Sardix smiled coldly. Soon we will hit 3 human colonies simultaneously. Remote locations where help cannot arrive quickly. We will broadcast the attacks across the galaxy. We will show everyone that the humans are not invincible. What if they respond faster than expected? Then we fight. And we win. We have numbers on our side. The humans cannot be everywhere at once. Back on Unity 1 station, Admiral Drake stood in the command center looking at the star maps. He knew a storm was coming. He could feel it in his bones after decades of military service. Captain Rodriguez stood beside him. Do you think we are ready? Drake was quiet for a moment. We are as ready as we can be. But wars never go as planned. People will die. Ships will be lost. The question is not whether we can win without loss. The question is whether we have the will to see it through. The humans will not back down, Rodriguez said firmly. I know. But our allies? The species we have trained? They have never faced a major war. This will test them in ways they cannot imagine. They will surprise you, Rodriguez replied. You have taught them well. More importantly, you have given them something to believe in. Drake nodded. I hope you are right. Because when this begins, we will need everyone standing together. Across the galaxy in 1,000 different places, people went about their lives. Merchants hauled cargo. Families raised children. Students studied. They did not know that war was coming. They did not know that soon they would need the humans more than ever, but the humans knew. And they were preparing. Because that was what humans did. They stood watch while others slept. They prepared for war while others enjoyed peace. They did it willingly, without complaint, because they believed something simple but powerful. The innocent deserved protection. The storm was gathering. But when it broke, the galaxy would learn once again why Earth was called a death world. And why?